no surprise that there's a populist outrage both on the right and the left, but we need to find a different way of ultimately separating politics from letting free market capitalism be free market capitalism. If some guy ends up with more green pieces of paper than the other, so be it, as long as we're all equal in a democratic system of governance. That's what I think we need to go to.
I feel like this table is a bunch of French aristocrats a week before the masses made it to the Bastille. This is not about what you think. It's not about what you think, because you are, listen, I'm very glad free market capitalism has been wonderful to you. It hasn't been bad to me. I understand the high side of this party. If you're in the party, it's wonderful. Not enough people can get into the party today.
We're saying the same thing, Marianne. We're saying the same thing. They're locked out by government policy that actually favors the people who are in charge, like the stimulus programs.
Again, with the PPP thing, it's not that I'll give you half, but then what are you doing with it? You're not giving it to the people I want it to go to. You're giving it back to these assholes buying jet skis. You know,
In today's America, capitalism is at a crossroads, split between strong proponents who laud it as humanity's greatest economic engine, and critics who argue it's a rigged system structured to favor the wealthy. On Real Time with Bill Maher, entrepreneur, Vivek Ramaswamy and progressive activist Marianne Williamson engaged in a furious discussion over the harsh realities of modern capitalism. Is it a flawed but crucial generator of innovation and progress, or a system that consolidates wealth at the top while leaving ordinary Americans to squabble over the crumbs? Ramaswamy zealously championed free market capitalism, characterizing objections as unwarranted grievances produced by government overreach and inefficiencies. Williamson, on the other hand, painted a vivid portrait of systemic inequality, arguing that capitalism in its current form places profits before people. Maher joined in with a sobering message. Unchecked wealth in Ecuador, he warned, prompted a populist movement pushing America closer to political and social instability. Are we reaching the limits of capitalism, or are we playing with fire by weakening it? This conversation digs into the roots of America's economic dissatisfaction, debating whether capitalism itself is to blame or merely a scapegoat for deeper structural issues. Don't miss this passionate argument. It's a must-watch for everyone concerned about the future of America's economic system.
Most of the people who do not want to pay higher taxes, who have a lot of money, are not complaining about where the PPP loans went. They, as Martin Luther King said, if they give it to poor people, they call it a handout. If they give it to rich people, they call it a subsidy.
But this didn't go to poor people. That's the whole point. It did not go to the poor people.
But those same rich people are the ones who do not want to pay, for instance, something like... President Biden, if he wanted to, could declare a national medical emergency and expand Medicare to everyone tonight.
After a bumpy start between the guests, Bill Maher dove into the issue with a strong comment, noting historical parallels, to warn of the potential consequences of unrestrained economic inequality. Citing examples of past revolutions against entrenched elites, Maher expressed concern that growing dissatisfaction among the economically excluded could spark a similar awakening in America, undermining the foundations of the capitalist system itself. Maher addressed the recurring issue of government bailouts and policies that appear to unfairly benefit corporations at the expense of average individuals. This dynamic, he argued, fuels populist anger and erodes trust in both government and capitalist institutions, widening the gap between the rich and everyone else. Vivek Ramaswamy responded with his vision of a smaller, less intrusive government, believing that a truly free market will drive innovation and prosperity for all. However, Maher raised a crucial question. Can capitalism function fairly without some form of regulation to prevent corporations from gaming the system and consolidating their advantages? The debate zoomed in on a key issue in modern economics. How much government involvement is necessary to create a fair and equitable economy? And at what point does that involvement hinder the very progress capitalism promises? This exchange reveals the vast divide over the government's role in ensuring economic justice.
The next question that we are sent in, why isn't universal health care making any progress even in a liberal state like California?
The majority of people want it. And you said not because of the insurance companies.
Okay.
The majority of Americans
No, I didn't
want
say that. I
Medicare for
said
all.
not just because.
But that's what happened in California. It was that $1 million check from the insurance companies.
Well, it's also
majority
the
of
pharmaceutical
people want it.
companies. The
Well-
pharmaceutical companies make more than the insurance companies, a lot more. And their goal is not to make you healthy, it's
the
to
same
sell
corporate
drugs.
matrix.
So look, I actually think there's truth to a lot of what you guys are saying, but at the end of the day, they're able to deflect accountability for these questions by actually changing the subject. That's a big part of what we were talking about with this cultural elitism, is ultimately part of the reason that you see Pfizer decide or a big corporation decide that there's going to be a certain number of people who are going to staff its ranks who are diverse. These are the press releases you see from pharmaceutical companies today, not actually how we're going to bring down the cost of drug
But
development
also,
and make drugs cheaper.
can I interject a
Yeah.
little factual that I recall? I may not have the facts exactly right, but they have done this, they've studied this. Why can't we have universal? Because it is popular as an idea in
The
California.
majority of people want it in the United States.
Okay.
Ramaswamy argued that the inefficiencies and high costs plaguing American healthcare stem largely from excessive government bureaucracy and debt. Rather than supporting a universal healthcare system run by the state, he proposed eliminating centralized institutions like the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services and reallocating that money directly to individuals. This, he claimed, would allow people to purchase private insurance tailored to their specific needs, cutting government waste and improving efficiency. Ramaswamy's approach hinges on harnessing market competition to reduce healthcare costs while increasing access, all without imposing a large tax burden or expanding government control. By giving individuals the financial freedom to choose their own coverage, he believes the system could achieve broader access without compromising efficiency or innovation. His strategy stands in sharp contrast to state-run universal healthcare plans, emphasizing personal choice and market-based solutions.
But when they crunch the numbers here in California of what it would cost to have universal health care, it's like taxes would have to be like 80% for everybody or something.
There's a different way to do it.
Insanely, the numbers, and that's why they give up on it.
Well, there's
because
a really
the
different
numbers
way to do
just
it.
don't work.
There's a
Because
different way to do
again,
it,
the
though.
corruption in the system. That's the problem. We can't tell the gougers to stop doing that.
There's a different way to get to universal health care, and I think it's really important because no one's talking about it, is actually you might take the administrative bureaucracy that's responsible for administering those dollars, just like the bureaucracy that administers PPP, by the way, they waste a lot of money, send it to the wrong places, and I would say, let's actually dissolve that entire apparatus, CMS, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, take the money and distribute it to the people who can't afford to buy private health insurance to actually buy private health insurance. And if you crunch those numbers, it's about $5,000 to $6,000 a person. It gets you most of the way there. So get rid of the bureaucracy and give the money back to the people. That's what I say.
What we need to remove is the profit-making middleman of insurance companies. That's what needs to be removed. You're still helping the insurance company. You're still giving the money to the insurance company.
The debate underscores a fundamental tension between access and affordability in healthcare. While Maher acknowledged the immense costs often associated with universal healthcare, Williamson and Ramaswamy proposed differing solutions to improve access, without placing massive tax burdens on the public. Williamson advocated for a fully public system rooted in universal access, while Ramaswamy pushed for a market-driven model aimed at lowering costs through efficiency. Both approaches, however, face significant obstacles. Ramaswamy's plan would likely meet resistance to dismantling existing government agencies, while Williamson's would almost certainly face fierce opposition from insurance companies and industry lobbyists eager to protect the status quo. Meanwhile, Maher's attention to the financial constraints of universal healthcare highlights the challenge of crafting solutions that are both politically viable and economically sustainable. As an observer, it's clear that each perspective raises important concerns, but none offers a complete solution on its own. The American healthcare system is undeniably burdened by issues of accessibility, cost, and inefficiency, and the debate underscores just how complex and nuanced the solutions must be. So, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below, and if you don't want to miss out on the hottest celebrity news, make sure to subscribe to Daily Finder.